countries, including those from Italy, Indonesia, Norway, Britain, Egypt, South Korea, and Portugal, on the sidelines of the G20 Summit and discussed ways to improve and strengthen ties. Prime Minister Modi arrived in the Brazilian city after concluding a two-day trip to Nigeria. He met his Italian counterpart, Giorgia Meloni, and discussed ways to deepen ties in defense, security, trade, and technology. Prime Minister Modi also met Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto and discussed ways to improve ties in security, health, and much more. The talks during Prime Minister Modi's meeting with Portugal Prime Minister Luís Montenegro focused on adding more vigour to the economic linkages between the two countries. Prime Minister Modi held a bilateral meeting with his United Kingdom counterpart, Keir Starmer, on the sidelines of the G20 Summit in Brazil, and he described the meeting as extremely productive and expressed eagerness to collaborate in areas such as technology, green energy, security, and innovation. All right, well, this is obviously an important matter for India. It's an important focus for India as well. And UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has hailed the productive meeting with Prime Minister Modi on the sidelines of the G20 Summit. He went on to say that in a significant announcement, he informed that the two countries have announced plans to relaunch the UK-India trade talks. UK-India trade talks have been halted and were to resume after the completion of elections in the United Kingdom. We'll talk about this with our guest, Ambassador Suresh Kumar Goyal, former diplomat, with us on the program. Mr. Sumit Peer, senior political commentator, joins us on the show as well. Major General JKS Parihar, defense expert, and Major General J.K. Bansal, defense expert, also join us on the program. Ambassador Goyal, well, cut back to September 2023, G20, where India, of course, made a lot of strides when it came to G20. But the focus is obviously also about what India and UK do, because of all the countries that I've spoken of, it seems that the relationship is pretty smooth. But with the United Kingdom, it's been a love and hate relationship. We have a new Prime Minister on the helm in the United Kingdom, and the trade deal, the trade agreement, which has been halted for so long, is this likely to go through under his leadership? And how important will it be for the Prime Minister and his legacy to see it come through?
Good afternoon, Vineet. Vineet, as usual, sometimes, and it's not surprising that the bilateral meetings, which are held on the margins of the G20 meetings, seem to become more important than the G20 meeting itself. And the meetings that have taken place, George Meloni, then Portugal's Prime Minister, these are all important bilateral relationships in a sense, where Europe is concerned, and again there will be bilateral meetings. Indonesia, I don't remember if the two met each other on the margins of the. No, I don't think so. Yes, they didn't meet there at that time, but Indonesia is an important part of our strategy for the Indo-Pacific, and particularly in terms of our own Axis policy. But coming back to the UK, you see, Starmer has taken over only recently, and so far, I have not seen anything coming from him which could actually be taken as a kind of an indication of the way he is going to look at India's relationship, bilateral relationship. But from the various events that he has organized, from the statements that he has made, with the exception of certain faux pas conducted, for example, in fact, I wouldn't even call it a faux pas really, the Diwali party where the liquor was served and the non-vegetarian, we have different views. I remember when I was doing Diwali party in Malaysia, and the Malaysians, they do have their meat and they do drink, the Indian community, on the day of the Deepavali. Therefore, for me to say that we celebrate Diwali in a different manner, and therefore I can't, it depends upon the local practices really. But anyway, the good thing was that the Prime Minister's office apologized for the faux pas, and obviously they became aware of the sensitivities of a large number of people. So in a sense, I do hope that with little shakes here and there and ruffled feathers here and there, with the exception I'm waiting for an India strategy to evolve from the UK, but I can only hope that given the size of India, given the economic size of India, and given the fact that India is not a colony anymore, and that also the fact that India is a larger economy compared to even the UK, that we will basically have a smooth bilateral relationship in the interest of both of the countries, economically, I mean. I think in terms of security and strategic and the political relationship, with the exception of the Khalistani element operating from the UK, which I think will need to be managed as the time goes by, and we will need to see how the UK government deals with the issue. With the exception of that, I think economy will be the major uh, uh, plank of the relationship, in both in terms of trade and investment, and let us see how it goes.